Hey, good morning and welcome to MRWA Zoom training, Jim Patton style. As everybody's coming into the meeting, there's going to be two sessions today. The first one's on cybersecurity with Michael Bertzinger, and the second session will be on operator certification, renewals, certificates. So, without anything further from me, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to the studio, Jim and Mike.
Well, thank you, Andy. Welcome, everybody. Glad everybody could be here with us this morning. I'm here along with Michael Bergsinger. He is our energy efficient guy, our IT guy,
Sure.
our cybersecurity guy, our go-to guy. Anyway, our first hour today is going to be cybersecurity. We're going to kind of hit and miss on cybersecurity today, I would say.
We're going to
Kind
hit
of
on kind of basic subjects.
basic.
We're going to talk about, and I forget the ruling, but the DNR law that was passed 5 years ago.
Yes.
That what everybody's been kind of struggling with right now, or looking to get into.
And a lot of them don't know.
Right. But what they're focused on right now is their valves and hydrants.
Right.
Is getting all their valves and hydrants
Right.
mapped out so that they can have a flushing program instituted, because they know that that's what their requirements are this year. What they may not know is exactly part of that is that you also have to have a cybersecurity plan in place
In place.
as of 4 years ago
Yeah.
in that same law.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of snuck up on us. And we had an in-person class last week, and that was mentioned, and everybody like deer in the headlight look like, what?
Right.
There was, I don't know how many different systems there from Southwest or South Central Missouri, but um, gosh, it was like, we didn't know we were supposed to do this. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. We're going to get the word out. Next week, same time, same channel, the 29th, we are going to go part two.
We'll dive a little deeper into it and try to get a little more.
Yeah.
The goal here is to not get over everybody's head.
Yep.
Everybody, I know when I first heard the word cybersecurity, I sit there and go,
oh my God,
I'm the tech guy. I understand, but I don't want any part of it.
Well, and we can only do so much cybersecurity so long.
Sure.
Then I'm just like everybody else, and we get into it for a little bit, then we lose our concentration, and then we need to do something else. So that's kind of what we're doing.
And the big thing about cybersecurity is it's never done. It's not a one and done.
No.
It's not our lead line inventory. We don't have to worry about it for another year. This is a constant thing that we're going to have to be continually at least mindful of.
Yeah.
But don't let it overpower you. Don't let it overwhelm you.
Any questions that you guys got, just chime in the chat box. We'll see them right here. We'll answer everything we can get. And like I said, part two next week, we'll dive a little deeper. But the second half of this today, going to be renewing your certification online. We're going to do that live online. We done it, I don't know, a couple of years ago. It went over pretty well. So Andy's going to come in here. We're going to do that on the second half. But right now, we're going to get started with cybersecurity.
You get to clip off with me first, right?
And we're gonna put up with Mike for a little bit. But any questions, just chime in, ask, and we'll get to it. Mike.
Now, give me just a second to restructure what we have going on here so we can see what we have. But again, I want to reiterate that while cyber is a big thing, it's something that everybody in our everyday lives have to tackle and at least think about every day. It's no different than locking our cars up or locking our houses.
Yep.
It's just a different version of how we look at the world. That's
Right.
really all it comes down to. We've already been dealing with it for years.
Yep.
It finally filtered into our day-to-day work. And granted, those of you say, well, I don't have any control systems in my facilities. I don't have anything besides a radio that bounces between my control tower and my office to be able to read the readings out there. It doesn't mean that you're absolutely immune. So I appreciate taking the time to just listen and see what we have to say about it. So, that's kind of where we're at now. It's really just talking about how much we're already tied into these systems that are built around us. Our conveniences of having SCADA on our phone to be able to monitor things are great to be out in the field where we don't have to worry about going out to the house that day or leaving the house on an emergency call. If we get our alarm, we can see what the alarm is before we ever show up and know what we need. Those conveniences have added just one more doorway that people get in. So those are the types of things that we're looking to.
And two, I mean, you SCADA systems, all different sizes. There's a lot of new systems that's got maybe I call it the Volkswagen version of SCADA. You got Volkswagen, Chevrolet, Cadillac, but
Gotcha.
a lot of systems now are getting some kind of SCADA. And I talked to one guy, operator the other day. He said, yeah, he said, we just wanted something to monitor our wells and towers. And he said, we got a little thing, I could pull it up on my phone and this and that. And I said, you have a good password. And he looked at me and said, well, I got a password to get in. I said, now, I said, and I talked to him before about cybersecurity, and he said, I'm not worried about that. Don't have to. I said, but now you do. You've got it on your phone. You can talk to your wells. You can turn a motor on or change levels or whatever. I said, you can do that. Somebody else can too if they can get on.
Right.
So, and he just like, I never thought of it.
And it's a sobering thought that we're at that point.
Yeah.
I know if you've gotten an email, especially in the last couple of months, you've had notification that Iran's become an active situation that they're looking to get in or have already gotten into our systems, and they're looking to tweak or possibly cause havoc. And that's not something that's new. That's something that's been around for a while
For a
now.
long time.
It's becoming more and more known and more present. The other thing that I like to make sure that I point out is we're not just worried about the foreign actors. We're not worried about just the Russias and the Chinas. We're not worried about we're not just worried about the ransom people who are out there just looking to make money off of it. Now we have to worry about our customers who are smart enough to get in there and either piddle, see if they can get into it, or if you've stepped on their toes one too many times and you've really just
Well,
irritated them and they have access.
we try to let our customers know everything what's going on in our system, to be transparent. Sometimes we could be too transparent.
Sure.
And that's where we can somebody sitting in our house going, oh, wait a minute, they got radio reads or they do this and technology these days, you never know.
Well, I had a conversation with a small system a couple weeks back that had somebody from the time they left the work on Friday afternoon, somebody had been in the system, had logged into their office out of the main office where they run all their water, all their books, and spent the entire weekend playing around inside those computers, flipping switches to see what did what,
Just to see what they could do.
logging into emails, going in and deleting files just for the sake of deleting files. It wasn't a ransomware situation. They weren't coming in and locking people out. They were just trying to see what they could do. And that was when it finally dawns on me and you go, yep, there's people out there who are just either in the sandbox playing around or they're pissed off at you because they only touched one computer and deleted files on one computer, even though they'd been in the other three. They only focused on one to delete.
Just to show you they get in there. Well, last week, we had a system, medium-sized system, 3,500, 4,000 customers, something. Come to us. We were doing a cyber class. He'd come to us and he said, I think we got hacked or I think we got somebody got into our system. And it's kind of the same way. He said that he started getting alarms on his phone that low water level. And then he said he got into it and got to checking things. One of the wells was turned off or two of the wells was turned off. Water levels was changed. Chlorine was changed. I don't know. There's some other stuff that was done. And he went around internally and started asking guys, "Did you do this? Did you do this?" And everybody, "No, we didn't do it." And finally, they found out somebody come in like in the middle of the night or something, come online.
Right.
And after they got to changing or checking it out, it was in the middle of the night they come on and started doing things. So
Well, and I'd heard about the
yeah,
situation, and one of those things that I want to bring up about it is the idea that it was a cloud-based cicada system that they didn't host locally at all. It was hosted entirely by a third party,
yeah,
which is another reason why we have to kind of hold our vendors and third party people to
yes.
a different note now to be able to say, what are you providing and what are you bringing to the table to help prevent this from happening?
Well, they're selling you the technology. They need to help you secure that technology
Right.
somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, no, we're in a different world compared to what we were buying 20 years ago, 30 years ago, like most of our water systems have that we run on.
Yeah.
That stuff now is very different in what we're buying to replace it, and they need to hold up their end of the bargain about how they're helping protect it.
Yep.
But we'll get to that a little bit later
Sure.
on too. So big thing that always comes up is first off, I'm not a big fan of acronyms. I think they get used way too often. It's too easy to get lost in a bunch of letters that you're very comfortable with. That I know what IT means and I know what OT means, and I can spit it out faster than informational technology and operational technology. But that doesn't mean that everybody that I'm talking to or the classes that I'm involved in know exactly what they are. So call me out if I throw out an acronym without explaining what it is.
I'll be the first. Mike, what is that?
But yeah, so IT. Everybody talks about IT. In fact, we had it come up at the beginning here about how I'm the IT guy for MRWA, right? IT stands for informational technology. That's that's basically the majority of the world operates on some sort of computer, and
Yeah.
all those computers are based off of some sort of information.
Right.
Some of them have controls built to them. Some of them operate in different ways, but the bulk of what we interact with on a daily basis is informational technology. It's we're dealing with a group of information sets. So that's where we're at there when we talk about IT. We talk about what's going on in the clerk's office, especially our billing, any emails that we deal with. That's our IT work.
Hmm.
Um, Operational technology is anything in our systems that we can tell it how to run our systems. So we start talking about PLCs or programmable logic controllers. Uh, VFDs, variable frequency drives, are another
Hmm.
one that can be tuned to what it is that we're doing.
Hmm.
To be honest, the chips inside of our trucks are part of
Same.
operational technology
Yeah.
about how the vehicle operates. So if that kind of brings that into key of what we're looking at and what we as systems need to focus into more often than or we at least need to spend time focusing into our OT departments as much as we do the IT that everybody always talks about. And we got ahead because I forgot what slide I had coming up.
Uh-oh. That's it.
But again, you know, this the IT is kind of the base things that we deal with on a daily basis, most of those pieces. And it's great. We need to have security. We need to pay attention to what we have going on there, but that's not the only doors that we have open. Um, our aging infrastructure, our aging systems have had programmable logic for some time now. Well, when we brought it out, it was like the next best thing. It's kind of like when AI first came out, and everybody's like, "This is great,
Oh,
this is
great.
wonderful."
Yeah.
Think of all the things we can do, and we haven't got to the point of what are our consequences for doing this just
Yeah.
yet. We're not there. With operational technology from the past decades, we're at that point now where they were building things to make things more convenient, would simplify the process. Whatever was fastest, easiest to get it out the door, that's how they did it. And we were okay with it because it worked for what we needed. But now we've got a bunch of open doors, per se, that we have to figure out how to go back and close that shouldn't have been open to begin with.
Yep.
So I'm kind of looking through here, and I apologize because I do not remember what the breakout of SCADA is. It's one of those default terms that I use quite a bit that I forget how it breaks down. But it is a control system that is automated to a point that you can monitor from a location other than where the switches are actually
Right.
physically located.
Right. Either from your computer on your desk, your iPad, your computer in your truck,
Absolutely.
your phone, any
Or a radio transmission.
radio transmission.
And that's one of those things that I've talked to people and go, well, I don't have to worry about cyber because I'm air gapped. We have a radio transmission that gets from our water tower back into our main building. And while I won't call that I won't call it I don't want to call it a cyber. It's not a computer attack by that point, obviously, but that doesn't stop somebody from getting in between you and and wherever you are
And do it. Yeah.
and pulling that signal and tying into it and being able to send information that doesn't need to go through it and being able to turn things on and off. So a radio is not an air gap. The only air gap that I can ever truly say is an air gap is if everything's run inside the same building, everything's in the same building footprint, never leaves the building, is not wired outside of those walls,
Yep.
and has no access, and you've got 3 locks on that door. That's as close as I can tell you that it's air gap.
Yep.
It's still,
Andy, we have a question.
No, I was supervisory control and data acquisition. I was just chiming in.
Okay.
I appreciate it. All right. So basically, where we're at is we're trying to figure out how to obviously reduce our exposure to the internet.
Right.
Because while it's a great thing, it's easy to get to. It brings us the best deals that we can find on Amazon and eBay and Gov Deals.
Yeah.
How could it be such a bad thing?
Yep.
But the other side of that is it has a lot of doorways. It has a lot of doorways. It has a lot of places that need to be locked. And we need to make sure that the pieces on our property are physically locked if we don't need them to be open.
You mentioned something right there, and I seen that firsthand the other day. I went to a system, um, and they got SCADA. They had everything. He was sitting there on his computer, same computer that he's got his SCADA on. He had a window open over here. They had a window open over here on Amazon. They were doing something, buying something from Amazon, but had a window open on the same monitor
Yep.
of the SCADA. And I'm going, you run that same thing off your, oh yeah, we do everything off this. And I went,
And that's where you go, okay, you can do that.
you
don't
can.
Get, don't get me
You
wrong.
can.
I'm not going to say you can't do that.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do that if I didn't get the choice.
I have you a good password, a strong password.
It's just one of those things where it's kind of segregating, the thing the people who carry 2 phones for work
Yeah.
and one phone for work and one phone for home, because you forget that if you carry one, you're represented in both worlds.
Yeah.
So I try to tell people, especially on one end, if you have passwords, they really need to be sure that those passwords do not involve both sides of your life.
Yeah.
If you use one password for everything but your bank account because it's easy to remember, do not use it at work, because I can almost guarantee you that one password has already been sold on the web a number of times, and somebody already knows that it belongs to you, and it's just a matter of time before somebody uses it.
Yes.
So keep that separation of making sure that what you use for your personal life is very different than what you use for your work life. Because we do deal with pertinent systems, water systems, wastewater systems. We deal with things that deal with public health, and we need to make sure we keep that separation just as a professionalism.
Well, and to the majority, I was that way too. Everything was on one computer, one phone, never thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
After you really get to digging in and get to listening to some of the stuff that's happening, you're going, wait a minute.
Right.
I've got everything on one spot.
Well, they've already decided that passwords are not strong enough.
Not strong.
They're working on the next layer of how to build things up through multi-factor authentication,
Yep.
which you guys get tagged with quite a bit, where they send a text to your cell phone, or they send it to the email address.
Right.
They're pushing to get further into any system that you have that has a fingerprint or a face recognition as one more step layer of
my phone the other day. It was a new thing that come up, and it said either your eye or your thumbprint. And I went, okay, that's different. Never seen that, but
it's just right now. That's kind of it's really kind of a changing landscape as to what is the best way to do that. So I do recommend that people, at the very least, for work, any place that you have an option to turn on multi-factor authentication, do it, because it's just one more obstacle that somebody has to overcome to get past what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I know we'll get to that a little bit later. I feel like I got off topic.
We've jumped
it's
around.
too easy.
You're here with me. We jump around a lot.
It's too easy. But getting our doors closed. CISA, the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, is an outfit that is actually a federal government, federal agency that was created here about 6 or 7 years ago. I think they were recreated. They were here for infrastructure security to begin with. They were already, proponents of getting chain link around all of your facilities, getting things locked up, make sure nobody could physically get into your stuff and mess with anything. And that's nationwide. That's not just water. That's anything that a foreign actor can get into. Like I said, 6 or 7 years ago, they were expanded to take in cybersecurity in addition to that infrastructure. So they are my go-to resource for questions and concerns, kind of thoughts about how things are running, what people are targeting. They're the ones that I want to talk to about anything. If I have a question about what I've seen or what's happened, how to take care of it, they're the kind of my go-to point. One of the tools that they offer, and I know everybody likes to say for free, and I'm pretty sure Robert, the agent that I work with, talks about it's free of charge because it's not free. You've already paid for it. You're a federal citizen. Your taxes have paid for this program, so it's not free. It's bought. You might as well use it. It's kind of like our programs. We do a lot of stuff for free for your membership. So utilize it for the little bit of money you spend with us. But one of the tools that they have is you get in touch with Robert Graham over at CISA, and they can actually go out and task a program to look for your IP addresses for your facilities and see what ports you have open. See what things you have facing the web that is already open that just says, you know what, we're here, come on in.
Yeah.
And those are a lot of default things that were built into something when you bought it that nobody thought about at the time. So now's the time to go out and start. It's kind of like the air conditioning's running inside the building and you have windows open and you're just throwing it all away.
Yep.
You might as well get it all closed up and hold on to it and make sure that nobody else can come in. But that's one of the services that they provide for free, that they will actually go out and they will test all of your IP addresses, all of your locations, and see what's open and make recommendations on how you can close it or what you can do differently to make sure that you're better secure.
To let you know what's going on in the background.
Right. So, because most of these items are kind of like a simple car thief. They're walking around just to see what doors are open.
Yeah.
And if the doors aren't open, then they're probably just going to walk to the next car because it's already too much effort to try to jimmy the door if they can find one that's open.
Yep.
So think of this cybersecurity as you don't want to be the low hanging fruit. So our focus is to get you further up the scale that you're not the easy thing at the bottom everybody's looking to pick at. There we go. I do have a handout at the end of the presentation that you can scan with your phone on a QR code that will give you any links that I have in this presentation, because I know this way it's real hard to click on anything and it's hard to keep up with it in the chat window. So I do have one download that you can do at the end of the presentation to get any links that we have listed, like this one, because this is where you would go to initiate a scan of your side to see what you need to cover up.
And it's free of charge.
It is free of charge.
Yeah.
And I'm going to slide that way. So another one is everybody's favorite words, EPA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do I need to spell that out? Do I have any hands out there? Somebody raise a hand, say if I need to spell out what EPA stands for.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you are. Yeah, it's Environmental Protection Agency. I know it's kind of like a bad word sometimes when people feel it, but
let me get my head out.
And again, all of these will be listed on a download sheet at the end of the bit, so we can go through and you can click and link into them after the fact. But Environmental Protection Agency has cybersecurity assessments that they can perform for you as well to go through and walk through. It'll be, I don't know how long the process is. It's going to be, it may be a couple of phone calls to get through it all, to answer questions, to see or to help them get a feel for where you stand and what things they need to look into or help you with. But it's another one of those, hey, what doors do I have open?
Right.
And let's start with CISA. Let's work with them first, and then we'll come back to the EPA and try to see what things that didn't get closed from the CISA side, or what other things we need to look at besides just open ports. American Water Works Association also has a lot of good tools on it. I hate to put the billing in for somebody else, because they're, I don't want to say we're competitors. We both do the same thing. We both have the same goal. We're out to try to help people. So that's why we're here going. There's other tools out here that can be used as well. They have a lot of good tools on their site, on their website. And again, CISA has their base tools to work with, and because they have a certain set of information that they're trying to focus into and trying to keep things as simple as possible and still get things tied up as much as possible, because we understand this is our job as operators is already a full-time job with multiple hats most of the time.
Everything
With
else.
everybody's
One or two horse show, and you got to do it all.
yeah, and
you got to worry about something like
now
this.
you need 15 people to take care of what everybody else does in a larger system. So time is limited. So my goal is not to show you everything. It's just going to bog you down for hours and hours. We got to figure out how to get as much information in your hands and get you on the road as quickly as possible.
Right.
Where else do we have? Water ISAC. And Water ISAC information sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's lost on me too.
Well, I think Andy had that up on our website a while ago.
There, and it still is, I believe. If those of you who are members of MRWA, NRWA, who have systems that are less than 3,300 in population,
Yep.
NRWA has it set up that you can actually go out and get a membership through Water ISAC free of charge. So what the Water ISAC brings to you is that's actually a collection point of information.
Mm-hmm.
Every attack that comes up, they compile it into an area, especially the attacks that are focused in water and wastewater industries, so that we can see kind of what tools are being tagged, what pieces they are, and know that they're more generalized to us. There's an MS ISAC that records everything. Every cyber event that anybody reports gets compiled in there, and that's great on a wide front, but we're a small portion of that. So it's nice to have one place to go to that's distilled down to just the water pieces. And that's the MS ISAC, the risk assessment method, which is another tool that they have set aside on their website to help you figure out where you're at and what doors you need to close, what areas you need to focus on, because it's kind of like eating an elephant. We have to eat the entire elephant to be 95% sure that we're going to be in the clear, because we're never going to be 100%.
Right.
But I don't know about you, my jaw doesn't open that big and I don't have that much time to just tackle it all. So we got to figure out which tools we can use to get bite-sized pieces and lean into it. But again, both ISAC locations have tools that are available to be able to help kind of section out the elephant to find which pieces are manageable. Start with the easy ones and then work your way up from there on the little more difficult stuff. And I knew we'd get back to multi-factor authentication.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I want to make sure that we point out here is those of you who share passwords, those of you who use, hey, I've got one account through here. It costs me this much per month for this one account. So we're all going to share it. We're all going to use it together. I understand being frugal. Don't get me wrong. I am one of the worst about trying to squeeze a penny out of two and probably wearing them thin as I do it. But the goal here is accountability for what you're doing and verification that it was you who
Yeah.
actually did it. If you have 4 people who have the same username and password, or using the same username and password, and somebody from the outside comes in, you don't know any way to verify which person did it,
Yeah.
or which one it is, or who has to change what. And that's not always a malicious actor. Sometimes it's that one guy that you let go last week and you didn't think about changing everything up.
Yeah.
So, for the sake of individuality and keeping things so that I know when Jim turns something on or off, or I know when Andy turns something on or off, or I know when Bob turns something on or off, everybody needs to have their own username and their own password.
Right.
It does multiple things, but it helps. Again, you're not the low hanging fruit if one password gets lost, or you don't have to worry about changing everybody's entire day to day structure to offset it.
Well, when that other person logs in and with your login,
Mm-hmm.
you you really trust them? Where are they going? What are they doing? What are they doing on that computer? Oh, they're just supposed to be doing this.
Which brings up another good point.
But that,
When you do it that way, everybody has administrative access because
Yeah.
everybody you only have one login, you only have one account,
yeah,
and that one account has to be administrative. It has to be able to access everything.
Yeah.
That's not what you want running on your day-to-day operations. You want to have minimal access. If you have Jim coming out with his username and password, then Jim only needs access to what is pertinent to Jim's job.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be able to change the default password for everybody because Jim's not the one who's managing the system. There'll be one person who manages the overall administration, and then even that login should be different than what, if that's my login, I'm the administrator, then I handle the day to day stuff up
Yeah.
here on the administration side. But when I go out and do my daily stuff, I log out and I log into my username for being Mike
Yeah.
and not admin.
Yeah.
To keep that layer of separation between what has full control over everything and what you have control over what you need to do.
Well, I was in a system the other day too. Administrator, clerk, and I don't know, a billing clerk or what. There was 2 other, but the administrator come in and turn on the computers, logged in. They were all logged in.
Right.
I'm going, you just log everybody in. Oh yeah, we do that. Said, do you know where they go during the day? I mean, might be trustworthy, you never know.
Sure.
But they may get pissed off at you sometime, and that happens.
And that's another one of those
And
situations where a computer has an administrative account.
Yep.
And it has a standard account.
Yep.
And by all rights, you should have an administrator account, but you should use the standard account on a daily basis because that administrator account, if somebody manages to get in past your password, has access to everything that they can get access to.
Right.
If you're running on the standard administrator or the standard account, then they're only available to what you created and what's in your folders.
Yep.
Which is bad enough, but they have less access to install software that's not supposed to
Well,
be there.
and 2, if they've got their own password, their own account, the administrator can go back in and something happens. He can see who, or she
Mhm.
can see who's logged in, when they logged in, and track that way too.
Right.
And if it's outside, they can go, wait a minute.
Well,
That come from the outside. So,
and that's part of that mentality that when you work, you're working on somebody else's equipment. This is their stuff they provided for you to operate, and it belongs to them.
right.
So don't assume that there's any kind of privacy. They're not watching you, but
Right.
but don't assume that there's any kind of privacy. Anything you do there belongs to whoever you work for. So that's just an agreement that we come into when we hire into anywhere. Off topic, way off in the weeds again.
We're off. We always do.
See, we're on slide 4 of 30.
That's what makes it so interesting.
This is true. So one of the things that we talked about earlier was the idea that some of our equipment and a lot of our equipment was built, decades ago.
Yeah.
And it was great for the time. I don't know if anybody's ever played with routers at the house, or if I'm just a geek because I tend to do stuff like that. But it used to be real easy that if I forgot what the password was to my router and I needed to change a setting, I'd go to the internet and go, hey, I have a model RS6100, and what's the default username and password? And here's 3 options of what it could be. And so you try all 3 options and you logged in. No big deal. Now that the world has become a lot closer and everybody is operating on the internet and knows how to get through the internet, then that means that they also know what my password is for my router or my PLCs, whatever default settings were created when it was put out of the factory. So that's where manufacturers have come together and decided that they're working towards this secure by design guidance set, where they're going, okay, so we understand we got to have security based, we got to have passwords, we got to have default passwords. Let's not give every product we make the same password. Let's create a different password for each product as it goes out the door, so that everything is unique. Nothing is universal there, and we can get a little bit of separation to close those doors so we don't have that issue. That's kind of what the secured by design guidance leans towards. And as you look at new systems or replacing equipment, I want you guys to talk to your providers and see where they stand on this secure by design and what they're doing to make things more secure out the gate instead of waiting until they're in the field and then trying to figure out how to fix it after the fact.
Well, there was going back to the small scaling. When the vendor that put it all in gave the operator access and everything, he gave him a password. Right then is when he logged in. That's when he should have went and I'm changing this password or changed it to something else.
Sure.
Because that vendor wrote the password down, said, "Here, use this."
You already needed first separation. You trust them
Right.
to a point, depending on which
Right.
vendor and what they're providing for
Right.
you.
Absolutely.
Because if they're providing a service that has a software, they're going to have access, or you're going to grant them access.
They
at
do
some
too.
point.
Yeah.
So it's a feature of going how strict you need to be, but what you need to be at least thinking that everything's a possibility.
Right. Right.
I hate to say we all got to be staring over our shoulder all the time, but that's close to where we're at.
Well, you go back to doors and windows open.
Mm-hmm.
Just not changing that password, you left the door open,
Right.
For them or somebody in their company, or somebody just to
Somebody to come along.
Yeah.
And it's just a feature of remembering. And I hate to admit it that it wasn't. God, I guess it wasn't that long ago. It's been almost 20 years.
Yeah.
That we used to park the cars in the driveway with the keys and the cup holders overnight. Nobody's home. We take one car out. There's still 2 cars parked there with keys and cup holders waiting.
Yep.
When we'd leave the house during the day, the door of the house would be wide open. It'd be unlocked.
Our doors would be open. The windows would be open. I never thought of it.
And that was the world we lived in. But since then, I lock everything. I throw deadbolts on everything. All my keys come out of my cars. In fact, I lock my car in my driveway outside of my house at this point because the world around us has changed. And that's all we're doing here is just trying to understand how to work with that change.
Yeah.
So that's where part of that change is looking at the manufacturing process and trying to get our vendors and our providers, our manufacturers, to close as many doors and windows before it ever shows up onto our property, so we're not having to scrounge around and figure out how to close them after the fact. Because I don't know about you guys, I always hate to say it. I have a high school education. I've learned everything through hard knocks the hard way, beating my head into walls to figure out how to get through them. If somebody else smarter than me can close the door before I have to figure out that it's open, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Yep.
And again, so a little more detail about what they are. It does add the idea that we're not putting a single password across everything that walks out the door. We're going to put a different set or a different thought process to solve that part. We're not going to set it out the door where it used to be Windows had several ports that were open by default because it was handy for some of the older software to do remote desktop situations where they could remote in, or it was great for somebody who was playing around with things. Or granted, if it was somebody like me who 15, 20 years ago figured out that I could log into my work desktop at my work from home so that I could do something from home for an hour because I thought about it. It was handy. But that was one of those default things that you didn't have to turn on, that it was there available. That meant that if somebody who knew where it was, they could go in and exploit it. So
Yeah.
that's those types of openings that we're trying to get closed up through this. It does change the difference in how they look at the security testing, and they put it in front of white hats, for lack of a better term, to see if they can get into it, how they get into it. And that's another industry that if you don't like water and you like computers, you can get into being a paid hacker to go in
Yeah.
to corporations and
Yep.
say, okay, they give you a terminal, they give you an access point, they go, what can you get into?
I forget where it was at. It was something like Indeed or something like that. But there was a job listing on there, and it said hacker. That's what it said. But after you got to reading it, it was a company
Mhm.
looking for an IT guy to do that same thing.
Right.
Looking for going through their system and sitting there looking for hacks.
Yep. Seeing
But they
how
called him a hacker.
how many holes I can get into,
Yep.
and once I figure out where the holes are, then we know how to patch them.
Yeah.
Then we
'Cause,
and that's
I
the
mean,
fun.
it just caught my eye. It said hacker, and I'm going, what is this? And I thought maybe it was the dark world at looking for hackers. I didn't know, but
No, legitimate job
and
experience.
that's what it was. Yeah, I thought, well, that's a little different. So,
So I know we all just got done with the lead service line inventory, right? Everybody loves that.
oh yeah,
Again, this is where I like my classrooms because I can throw a hand up and go, "Who loved the inventory? Who had a great time putting it together and is
yeah,
glad that
we
it's
did
over
that
and they
the other
never have
day.
to do it?"
Remember what kind of return we got off of that? Yeah,
Well, and this is where I say, okay, we had our inventory. We love doing inventories. We love working with Excel. Let's build another one, because this is one of the things that, to be able to maintain or conduct assessments, or to be able to understand what you have to know what you have. This to me is no different than doing an inventory of what pipe and fittings you have on a shelf. When it comes down to it and you have a problem, you need to know where it is, what it's made of, and in this type of world, what software it's running, when was the last time it had an update on that software, when was the last time it had an update on the firmware that runs the internals of it.
yeah,
Um, and trying to track that stuff in the back of your head like we do with our water systems isn't going to work.
yeah.
So I apologize. I don't have it listed on our slides here or in the download at the end of the presentation, but I do have an Excel form that is set up with an inventory and quasi for what people should be looking for. It's not a one size fits all. It's not everything.
So you can email that to systems.
It's actually in our downloads
Oh,
area
okay.
of our MRWA website.
All right.
So there is that. It's like, again, it's a template. It's someplace to get started. It's something to get an idea of what types of things we need to be looking for. Because to me, this is not really any different than, running an inventory of what pumps we have, what physical pieces we are operating with. And if you want to list your pumps in this inventory, you want to list, your physical and your valves. That's fine. You can do that too. It can be filtered down to just areas, and you can add a column to dictate which type of inventory piece you're
So
putting
we're
into.
talking on the inventory. We're talking computers.
Right,
We're talking anything that is SCADA
right.
or radio read.
Yep.
Any type of that anybody could get access to.
I would say anything that you use to control your system.
Right.
And it's there to help keep an inventory of what it is that somebody could get into.
Mm-hmm.
But think of it, just like our inventory for the pumps. Hey,
Yeah.
we installed this radio for this broadcast frequency,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got a range of this. We did this in 2001. What's the lifespan of that product?
I was sitting here just thinking too, operator the other day happy. Whoa, look what I got. Had his iPad out there, and he was changing his VFDs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, wow, that is neat. I mean,
Sure.
different pump stations and different things. I'm going. He said, I was camping the other day, and he said, I thought, oh, you were 100 miles away,
Yep.
still can do this.
And you can still make adjustments.
So can somebody else.
Well, and that's where, you get into what all doors do you have open and what all doors do you need
Yeah.
to close?
Yeah.
Because again, we will never be 100%,
Gets scary, doesn't it?
but we just want to be as we won't. Yeah. I'll throw in the bear analogy that
Yeah.
if there's a bear in the room,
Yeah.
I don't have to be faster than the bear.
You just got to outrun me.
I just got to outrun Jim. So as much as I hate to push somebody else's operator under the bus,
Yeah.
you just want to make sure that you're not the one at the back of the pack.
But it was a good system. I mean,
Yeah.
I looked at it. I mean, my God, he could run everything right there. It was nice.
And there's
But
nothing wrong with setting them up that way. It's just a matter of making sure that you know
having
how
this
to
picture.
take care of it.
Yeah.
But that's where this inventory comes in, so that you can kind of gauge
Yep.
how old your assets are. If the event that something happens, somebody gets in somewhere and you call CISA, which I'm sorry is the first thing you ought to do is either call CISA or the FBI to let them know,
Hey, something happened.
file a report.
Yeah.
They may not be able to bring the guy to justice, but they need to know what happened because
Even the minor stuff, just like the other day when the operator told us that he had some funky stuff going on with his well, some changes. And I believe you told him then too.
Mhm.
You should call CIS and let them know what's going on.
Yeah, you hate it when you file the report with the police department about somebody who stole groceries and broke your back window of your car to get to them,
Yeah.
and chances are you're never gonna have a bit of satisfaction believing that somebody got caught and was punished and you were going to get money back for it.
Right.
That's not what we're at here. We're at the idea of we need to figure out how they're getting in, so we need as much information
Stop 'em.
collectively as an industry to know where they're getting in as they're getting in, so we know how to close. That's the more base of the reporting aspect. If you think it's almost nothing, it's still worth letting somebody else know.
Right.
And that's again where those ISACs, the water ISAC and the MS ISAC, they compile all that information. And if you don't report it, they can't give it to you. They can't share it with you.
Right.
So another thing that comes with that law from 4 years ago that
Yep.
we should have already had done and in place is incident response plans. So an incident response plan is just another type of emergency response plan. That's
Yep.
really all it
That's
comes
where I was
down
going to go. Yeah.
It's we already have emergency response plans for how we're going to deal with things as they come up, and this is just a different type of response. That's all, because we're looking at a different problem.
Yeah.
So they build the same way, they work the same way. It's a matter of knowing who's the one whose roles are instituted, who are the people that you need to reach out to and notify. You need to talk, you need to have your board members on there, you need to have your mayor on there, you need to have your CISA and your FBI. Depending on your situation, you might have the news agencies involved according to board orders or what other board advisories, depending on what the situation was and what happened. But I also say that unless there's a matter of trust, you don't necessarily want the general public to know. Well, you don't want them to know the details of how it happened,
Right.
because all you're doing is letting somebody else know
Know
how to do
what's
it
going
next
on.
time.
Yeah.
Because if I sit there and say, "Well, this is how they did it. They got into this port over here, and they went through and they used this password," and the guy sitting at home's going, "Uh huh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, okay, great."
Yep.
So I can take care of them here in an hour because they haven't closed it yet.
And be sure where you say this at. Like I said, in a council meeting, most of the time you got a news reporter or a blogger sitting there typing your meeting.
And we say it's not necessarily not public information, but there was a reason why the EPA didn't manage to go forward with their ruling on how things needed to be done for cybersecurity. And that's because as soon as the system put it all together and handed it to the EPA, it now became public information, and anybody could look it up. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's why there was such a big hang up on how they were doing that.
Yeah.
Which is where with CISA, the way CISA is structured is CISA is between you and CISA, and that's it. You open an account with them, you open an assessment with them, you start a conversation. It's between your entity and your representative from CISA, and that's it.
Yeah.
They don't report to anybody else outside of if there's an event that happened, then they report it to the ISAC and said, here's what happened.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yes.
Don't go into detail.
You're not going to get into trouble for
Yeah.
reporting to CISA because some other agencies coming in and going, well, why didn't you do this?
Yeah.
You start with them and they help you figure out how to close the holes, but they don't want anybody else to know that the holes exist.
Right.
And then back to your reporting methods of, again, this is just really an emergency response plan that is designed more for a cyber event.
And it's going to stay in your office or wherever. It's going to stay just like the emergency response plan. You're going to have it somewhere, but it's not going to be out here in the.
But this is one thing that I believe DNR will start asking for
Yeah.
in the near future because it's something that
It's coming down.
should have already been in place.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of guides, and again, I do have the links that are set aside at the end of the presentation for everybody to download. Where CISA has a 12-page PDF that kind of gives you a template layout of what things should be in it, how you should look at them, what base areas you need to focus into, and it's not going to be a fill in the blank.
Right.
We're all going to have to work at this a little bit, but at least if you feel like you're struggling for direction, here's a couple of places that you can look for that will give you an idea of what you need to be tackling. Let's see. So with those plans, and I wish I could see a slide number there because we're skipping along here.
Yeah.
With those plans, the next thing that you want to make sure that you work into is you want to have your tabletop exercises. You want to sit down and say, okay, let's pretend because everybody likes make believe. If you like D&D, this is for you. It's real easy, no problem. Let's put together a scenario that could possibly happen. And now that somebody's put the scenario together for you, how are we going to get through it?
Well, and it's on the slide. I was just going to say, CISA will help you do the tabletops, right?
CISA has packages set aside. They have stuff that you can download and get into. I know Robert Graham is still talking about going around the state and hosting tabletop exercises for people to attend in person. The trouble is trying to get enough people to attend to make it work out for everybody. So if you do me a favor, I know there's a survey at the end I'd like you to get to before we finish out today. If you remember a tabletop exercise is something that you would be interested in attending, put that in the note area of it that would be one of those things, and make sure that you give me a system name so I know kind of the part of the state that we're looking at, because the goal is to be able to get in 25, 30 people in one room and sit down for half a day and hand out exercises and be able to work around the room with other systems and be able to say, hey, this is what I've got going on. This is how I'm going to take care of it. And somebody else goes, well, what if you did this? Because I've got something that's similar.
Right.
And you kind of work off each other. You don't feel quite as overwhelmed and alone in the situation.
Well, we used to do that years ago, the round tables at our conferences, where you just sat with the operators or clerks or whoever, and you just throw out anything. Hey, I got this problem going on. Guarantee you somebody else has worked through that. And the same thing here.
Sure.
It's fairly new. I mean, it's all this stuff's been around a while, but it's fairly new. There's some system and some person, where it be the clerk or where it be the operator or the IT guy, that went through this same problem.
Sure.
So
it'd be highly beneficial. And again, if you do me the favor of filling out the survey at the end, it's a QR code that you can scan. You don't have to do it immediately when you scan it, but if you save it and do it a little bit later, it'll help kind of collect a little bit of information to find out where else you might be able to work with. But as of right now, for those go-getters out there who are willing to come out and download games themselves and see where they're at, uh, there is the two links that I've got here that will be in the download at the end of the presentation. That the EPA has tabletop exercises and CISA has them as well.
Okay. Andy, we got a question?
Yes, sir, we do. The question is actually from me, and it's just one of those things that I've said in a handful of cybersecurity trainings, and this is one of those questions that I typically don't hear, but I hear people talking about. So what about Avast or AVG or Kaspersky or McAfee or any of those uh, antivirus, malware, blah? Where do those fit in here anywhere?
So they do fit into the IT world. In the operational and the OT side, I don't know if they've got to that point yet. I know there's going to be at least a base computer that's controlling something that will have to have some sort of protection to it. So they do have their place, and it's like any tool, whether you buy it from Snap-on or you buy it from Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're getting into. Make sure you do your research. I don't have a recommendation of one or the other, one over the other. Um, but they are all one of the pieces that needs to be part of your toolbox to be able to continue to battle cybersecurity in one form.
Yeah. Do your research, like
Right.
you said. There's all kinds of Norton and I don't know, Caffrey and I don't know, whole bunch of them out there. Just
Yep.
do your research and ask around.
Yep. See what other people are using. See who's had hiccups. It's
They all want your money.
Well, I agree, and I always had that mentality. God, 15, 20 years ago. That wait a minute. So you're providing me a software that tells me that's going to find other softwares that if I pay you, you'll make sure those softwares don't install. Well, what's to say that you're not making the softwares and releasing them into the wild? Wait a minute, that's conspiracy, right? We don't make viruses and release them into the wild.
That's what radar detector companies do.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So again, you do your research, and you take everything with a grain of salt as far as what's the best, whether it be a Dodge, Chevy,
Yeah.
Ford, God forbid, Toyota. Everybody's got their opinion. You just kind of have to work and see what works for you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So yeah, we do need to talk about backup systems, and I know I'm running right
It's
up
up
on the
there.
edge of stuff.
It's up.
So if you do me a favor, and I'll give you the short and down and dirty of it, the backup systems primarily are going to be things, everybody talks about ransomware being the big thing, making sure you have it somewhere where nobody else can touch it. And what they do with the ransomware is they actually go in and encrypt it, and they have the password to unencrypt it. So unless you have a computer in 1,000 years, you're never going to be able to figure out how to break their encryption more than likely. They know that. So how you get around that and how you get around computer failures, because I've had this happen to me as well, is keep multiple backups of the information that you have, whether it be for your OT side or your IT side. Do me a favor, and this method is remember that you need 3 different copies on 2 different types of media in at least um, one location that is not on the same spot as where it originated.
Hmm.
So you have 3 copies. One of them can be a cloud copy. That's fine. 2 of them can be USB or pocket drives, whatever you have, or a RAID system built into your network, built off of your router that automatically backs up onto a hard drive. But make sure that one of those 2 copies that you have in office doesn't exist in office. Take it to the bank,
Yep.
put it in the security vault, take it
Back it
home,
up in the cloud.
so you can do a cloud copy.
Okay.
That's one of your 3.
Okay.
But you just want to make sure that out of your 2 physicals, one of them's off-site, because your cloud copy can be touched from anywhere.
Anyway.
So
Yeah.
if your storage system, your cloud storage has a hack, you've lost that copy. You're on site. If there's a fire, if there's a flood, if there's a tornado, that's gone.
Yeah.
In addition to the computer that it was pulled off of, that's gone. That's why that third piece needs to be somewhere that is not in that same building to try to stave away from the natural disasters.
And that could be putting it on a thumb drive and taking it somewhere else.
Yes. And your backups, you leave it to your discretion. Daily, weekly, monthly. I don't recommend anything less than weekly because whatever you lose, you have to rebuild. So CISA does have some guidance out there on how to take care of that and what to look for. Different products, or not products, but different mindsets of how to do that. Something else that comes up is the KEVs, known exploited vulnerabilities.
Okay.
So this is where that water ISAC and that MS ISAC comes in again. That's where this list is actually built from, is when the people who report that something happened, then they build the list and say, okay, well, this is how they got in. So this is what we need to notify people, that this is how they got in. So this is what you need to focus on closing. So you can either sign up for notifications from CISA. CISA will pass things along if you sign up on their newsletter list. If you sign up through Water ISAC, you'll get a list from them as things come up, and you'll get notified when those pieces are, so that you can. I tend to make a filter in my email box that off of my inventory that I've created that says, here's my names of the pieces, the people who made them. So I know what the brand name is for each of those pieces. I create a filter that says, if this brand name shows up, it needs to go in this folder. And then I know I need to open that folder and verify that none of those pieces are in my list. So it does get to be a lot of emails to segregate through. If you can let the computer do some of the work for you, it just takes the weight off your shoulders. Or if you really want to go digging, CISA has the entire catalog online that you can go dig through individually to find that one piece that you're looking for. I just assume you find an easier way to do it.
Yeah.
Something else that we need to keep up with, and I forget the name of the website. I believe it's Wheezy.com. If you don't do anything else, there are groups out there that you can pay to do some IT training on cybersecurity and phishing and kind of password things, MFAs, those types of items. That needs to be part of our regular scheduling training for our own people, our own employees going forward. We need at least once a year. We just need to sit down, and I liken it to when we went through COVID and we had to watch those commercials over and over and over again about how we wash our hands.
Yeah.
And we just had to do that for 2 years to make sure that we knew exactly how to wash our hands. These cybersecurity trainings, that should be the same thing, because that's basically what it is it's just hygiene. It's basic things that we all need to be doing as a culture to make sure that we're not the low-hanging fruit. We're figuring out how to close up the hardware.
Yeah.
We, as human beings, are the low-hanging fruit. So
Well, technology is here. I mean, it's what we're doing today. Wasn't what we was doing 15, 20 years ago.
right.
But we train our water operators, our wastewater operators. We train on everything that has to do with that. This is just a part of it. And we're just going to have to get more familiar. Yeah, I know some of you are sitting out there going, too old for this.
Well,
It's part of it today.
think of it like the privilege of driving down the road. We didn't all get to do that growing up until a certain point we learned how to do it, and that's just part of our daily life. We don't think about it.
Yep.
What do we have? So I do have some training resources that will be on that download here towards the end. Thing that I just want to throw out there is this is not a silver bullet. This is not, hey, I need to go talk to McCaffrey and they're going to install AV and we're done. We don't have to worry about it. No, this is multiple pieces. This is closing windows, closing doors, installing deadlocks, making sure that the gate at the driveway is closed up at the end of the night. Those types of things in a cyber world. So it's not all it's not all going to be one thing that fixes it. It's going to be an ongoing process that is just going to be part of our day to day.
Andy, do we have a question?
No.
Okay.
So I know it seems a bit overwhelming. Uh,
And it can be
yeah, and this
baby steps.
it's all just a matter of taking it one spoonful of the elephant at a time. CISA does have regional advisors throughout the state that you can contact, reach out to. They can be a good point to help with. Um, the EPA is offering assessments, and they are a tool to be able to work with them and ask questions of. And again, I stress Water ISAC is another informational point that has a lot of tools, a lot of information to be able to work through and ask for help from. So I'm going to ask if there's any quick questions, and I know the answer to that one already. I love those questions.
Yeah. Well, and two, like I said, this was just kind of um, basic. Just it's out there. We got to get to know it. We got to get to know the problems. Um, like we said, next week, the 29th, I believe it is, we're going to take this and go in depth with it. There's a bunch of questions that's come in, or I'm going to say quite a few questions that's already come in, and we're going to go over that. But each one of these steps, we're going to try to get into it a little deeper next week. So, yep, there's.
So I might ask you to
I'm going to
stand by
move
me for just a second.
here. Let me get over here.
There we go. So that's the QR code for the presentation links. That'll get you through. That'll get you a PDF copy of all the links that were involved here to help you run down the road. So I'll give you a few minutes to get that in there.
Here, I'll get out of the way.
But again, like Jim said, we'll go over a few other things next week in a little more detail. I do have, and I'll throw it out. There is a template on our website for a cyber preparedness plan that again doesn't have all. It's not just fill in the blanks, but it'll give you an
It's
idea.
a start.
It'll give you an idea of what things that you need to
Right.
have in there.
Right.
So other ones that I have is I have my contact info, which is up on our website. And then I also have our survey. If you'd do me a favor and one more time.
Here, I'll get out of the way one more time.
But if you do me a favor and go to this QR code and actually fill out the survey, it won't take but just a minute or two. It's just a couple of quick questions over
Right.
what we talked about today. But especially if you have an interest in participating in an on-site tabletop,
Right.
let me know and let me know where you're from so I can kind of get an idea to Robert of an area of the state that we can start helping him get these things set up.
We trying to get it scheduled right now. Should be scheduled here in the next couple of days. In August 13th, we're going to have CISA and we're going to do an in-person class. Probably going to be in the Waynesville, St. Roberts area somewhere. I think we got a place already set, but I think it's going to be on the 13th. That information will be coming out in the next couple of days. But Robert from CISA is going to be there. And love to do a tabletop deal down there, but I don't know if we can do it that day or not. But if you're interested in that class, that will be coming out in the next couple of days. So.
All right. I think that's all we got. I think we're going to take if I'm
Yeah,
wrong,
we're going to just take a short break, however long, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever.
We can do 5, I think.
So reset the studio here so Andy can come in. What's next is going to be how to recertify your cert online. So your license, that water, wastewater, don't care what it is. Years before we mail it in and this and that, we can do it online. Some of you do it online with not a hitch. Some of you have asked, how do we go about doing this? So to renew your license. We're going to go step by step here in just a minute and show you how to do that. So we'll take a 5-minute break. Let's be back at 15 after. 15 after, and we'll get set for the next session. Thank you all for being here. Mike, thank you for being in this work.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks. We'll be back in 5. Well, welcome back with us. We're here with Andy Bowman. Andy Bowman is our marketing guy. Andy has done this class, I don't know, a couple of years ago. We've had people ask, hey, can we do this again? A lot of people use the online. It's easy, fast. Some still mail their stuff in. So if you're the ones that's getting a late fee because the mail didn't get there in time, maybe you'll want to sit here and pay attention because we can do this online, quick and easy. And what we're going to do is he's going to renew his certification right here online right now.
Because it's super quick, super easy.
Quick.
Before I get to that, I'm going to show you real fast my certification. And there's my camera.
Yeah.
And if you'll see the little things that I've got on both sides, that's my little stickers that came in 2019 and 2022 and 2025.
The little golden stickers.
Yeah. Granted, I work out of an office.
Yeah.
And I'm here at MRWA, so I just stick those on the sides so I know where they are at. But my wastewater C expires next week.
Oh boy, we better get busy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm nervous. The great thing about it, DNR sends out the postcards, which has your information. I got to be careful because it's a green postcard with a green screen behind it.
Yeah.
They also sent letters. I received this round a postcard and both a letter for my renewal. First things first, we're going to go to the website first to make sure your information is accessible to you. So before we get into the research, I'm going to do a really quick go into DNR's operator certification website. And to do that, I'm going to do step by step. It's super easy. Some of you that have been around a little longer than others.
What, you pointing at me?
Gordon Belcher
Yep.
was operator certification's chief whenever I got certified. Gordon passed away, I think, 3-4 years ago.
Oh boy.
But he was, whenever I first started working for MRWA, I was the EPA trainer. And I did a class here in the MRWA office in the training room. It was called the Operator's Virtual Toolbox. In that class, Gordon Belcher was one of the students in that class, one of the attendees. And I was trying to explain how you get to DNR's website, Operator Certification's website. And Gordon said from the back of the room, he's like, can I show you a real easy way to do that to where you don't have to try to guess on where you're looking? And I thought, yeah, you're the guy.
You're the man.
So you should be able to see that. Okay, we're in a Google search. When you go to your address bar, punch in MO space OPCERT and then enter. You'll come upon this and you'll come upon this. Either one will get you there. We'll do the first one first. If you go to that one, it's going to open up the department's website. You'll scroll down. You're looking for operator certification database search. You can look up here. You can look here. These are good information links as well. But the one that you're looking for to look up your certification is operator certification database search. When you click onto that, this is the website that comes up. So that's the first link. Now we'll go back. I said you can go to that link or you can go to the next link. If you click this one and it says app5.mogov operator, you'll go straight to it. So you'll weed out one of those links, one of those.
Bypass one of them.
So if you're looking yourself up, go to operator search. And by the way, I've looked everybody up today that's with us, and I can tell you that Tyler, your number is 17353. Ronnie, your number is 9819. Mike's is 13529. Justin's is 17413. But I'm saying all that to say this is public access.
Yeah, your number is.
You're certified with the state so people can look you up. So I'm going to look me up.
And I guarantee you, some systems have looked you up because there's a box on here, and I'm sure you're going to check it.
Yep.
A lot of systems are looking for operators, for contract operators. And this is one of the places they can go and look.
Yes.
To see if you're signed up for a contract operator.
So what really sparked me to even do anything like this, because I'd seen Department of Natural Resources have trainings like this, operator certification, Darlene Helming even.
Yep. I'll have her on sometime here this year.
She's actually going to be presenting for us at the fall conference in one of our general sessions on day 2. But she had done a session, and I thought, I was at the Boot Hill Expo. I think I just started working for the association, or maybe I was at the Boot Hill Expo right before I started working for MRWA. The expo was in August. I started working for MRWA that September. And I remember standing in line to sign the roster. And all these people couldn't remember their number.
Yeah.
And you had guys whipping out their wallets.
Yeah, going a little card in there. Yep.
Or even on a Post-it note that they wrote from their thing from the office, their certificate from the office.
You're one of them, huh?
And I was amazed because I thought, oh, okay. I'm a numbers guy, so I kind of commit my numbers to memory. But then I was watching the frequency of it, and I thought, what if there'd be an easy way for them to just look it up really fast?
Yeah.
So I went to DNR's training. I saw that, and then I kind of fished around. Then I started playing with this in my spare time, just because I'm a nerd. So I nerded out. And I thought, well, if I know my certificate number, and mine is 10534, I could look me up. And by the way, my legal name's Carl.
Carl.
Oh, Carl.
Andrew.
But I could look it up like that. And then once I'm there, I can look up my information. I don't need any hours because I've earned definitely more than enough working for the association. But I also thought,
go back to that if you would.
Which one?
We're right there. Right there, just on the other side of Jeff City. Contract. See that right there? So you say no.
Oh, yeah. Contract.
Right here is where a lot of the systems look at to see if you say yes there, you'll contract operate. To change that, I believe you got to go through operation to change that. But and you may be able to change it on here. I'm not sure.
I think you can do it on here as well.
But I guarantee you, these days, I'm telling you, operators like yourselves are hard to find, and people are looking, systems are looking at you to see if you can do a contract.
So now let's go ahead and we're going to touch on what Jim's talking about, operators that are contract operators. So Jim, if you would, give me an instance, what kind of operator you're wanting, where you're wanting them, and then I'll do a search.
Okay, let's do a wastewater operator with Class B license.
Okay, so wastewater Class B. And then what area?
Let's do in the middle of the state somewhere. Let's do Pulaski.
Okay, so you go to Pulaski County. You got Pulaski clicked in. What about any neighboring counties around Pulaski?
Maybe what is Miller? Is one of them. And
Okay.
Camden would be another.
Okay. So Miller and Camden County.
Yeah.
So Pulaski, Miller, and Camden.
Yep.
Wastewater B operators.
hmm
We're not going to do contract yet.
Okay.
We're just going to search operators.
Search and see.
So now there's 3.
Yep.
One of them has a phone number listed.
Yep.
So if we'll go back and we'll highlight contract operator, search operators, his phone number is listed because he is a contract operator.
And it says right there, yes.
Yep.
We noticed the other 2 said no.
Mhm.
So
So if you're looking for somebody to just do contract operations to meet your requirement for
Yep.
your permit,
Yep.
this would be a good tool to use to find them.
and that's what a lot of systems are doing anymore.
Mhm.
Going to this
Yeah.
website right here and looking. I get phone calls all the time. You know, a contract operator in my area.
Mhm.
Trying to explain all of this is sometimes hard over
Oh,
the
yeah.
phone. So when I'm in that area, I'll sit down with them. We'll go on here and we'll look and go, yeah, you got 3 or 4 different ones.
You almost
Yeah.
need to physically be looking at the database
Yeah.
of the website
Yeah.
so you can walk them through it.
Yeah.
And like you said too, there's also I'll use the term lightly. Headhunters
Yeah.
looking to steal somebody, maybe.
Hey, it's out there. It
It-
happens.
it
I'm
does.
telling you.
And if you work for a public entity, well, your pay rate is also public information.
Yeah.
And if you are not paying like you should, somebody that pays well might go looking for.
And it's happening.
So,
Very much.
say for instance, your drinking water system, you're going to do a search using the drinking water system search. You can search for systems having no operator listed.
Yep.
So, if you're an operator looking for a gig,
Yep.
no
Vice
operator,
versa. You
yeah,
can use, yeah.
you can use this tool on your behalf.
Yep.
And say, give me another instance there.
Let's do a water this time.
Okay.
Let's do let's do what count?
Gonna do Cole. That's my county.
Let's do Cole. It's down the road here.
So Cole County looking for a system with no
No
operator
operator.
listed.
Yep.
We'll see if there's any that meet that. Nope.
None.
Cole County is
Hey,
exactly. And I got a feeling that might have to do a little bit with DNR being in the same county.
being right there.
Now I'm going to use drinking water system search, no operator listed. Let's get
Let's
a
go
little
south.
more.
Let's
Yeah.
go south. Let's go way south. Let's
Carter,
Carter, or even further south.
Butler, Ripley. I'm picking on that because that's my old stomping
Yeah,
ground.
yeah.
So we'll do a search. Okay, there we go.
There's one.
This is a daycare. Looks
Yep.
like they have their own permit. And this would be one of those systems that definitely hit under Jim's program.
Would and would need a contract operator.
So to view that system, you get all their contact information. So you can actually call them and say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm an operator.
I'm an operator
Looks like
looking for a job.
You're in need.
Yeah. So
And it
Yep.
shows you what their system requirements are for their certifications.
right.
So then go back to drinking water system search again. Now we'll do one operator listed, but not certified.
Yeah.
Do the same counties?
Why not?
Butler, Carter, and Ripley. Okay,
Oh, look at there.
nothing. So that's operator certified, but not a proper level.
Hmm.
Do the same ones just to see
Yeah,
if there's any
just yeah,
change.
whichever one. Yep.
Nope.
There we go.
So
We're getting better.
yeah,
We're getting better.
I remember when I did this class, it was 9 years ago. There was quite a few.
There was quite a few.
Quite a few. I think systems are finally understanding the importance of, well, at least grabbing a contract operator if you don't have a full-time staff.
That's why I mentioned the contract operators, because down around the lakes area, I'm just going to say, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of systems, a lot of mom and pop systems that don't have operators. And I know there's a handful of operators down there that stay busy year round.
And speaking of operators, if you have a Missouri DNR certification number, now is the time I'll ask you, please put that in the chat box with your name. That way you can get credit for attending today. And if you're watching in a watch party, say there's 2 or 3 people in the room with you watching this presentation, make sure you put their names in the chat along with their certification numbers as well.
Everybody there that needs some hours.
Because the certain numbers I have right now, I have mine, I have Mike's, I have Jim's. Justin, I have you. Ronnie, I have you. Carly, I have you. Jeff, I have you. Tyler, I have you. And Madeline, you're not certified. So,
but those of you, I know there's some parties. Those of you, list them all, list all the certifications, and you'll get credit for it. So,
and if you, oh, Madeline, you are.
There she is.
I looked you up earlier by first name and did not find you. I may have spelled your name incorrectly. That was another thing. I'm sorry about that. Another thing I was going to touch on was looking yourself up. I put in. I will. Hey, oh, I have a very small keyboard here. Thanks, Mike. Okay, I must have put your name in the last name and did a backwards search that way. And I'm not to call you out. I'm just showing how quickly you can look up your number. And you're updated back in June, so you don't need anything until November. But you're on your way.
You're on your way.
And then let's say, Ronnie, it looks like you need to renew this month. And I'm not calling anybody out intentionally. I did this earlier while Mike and Jim were talking.
Yep.
I also, I put it is a tough name. I also put a link for Suncoast Learning in there, and I did that intentionally in case Ronnie wants to grab some hours before the end of the month. That is probably going to be your best bet for getting that many hours before the end of the month. And also, if you get those classes while I'm talking about it, I will show you the renewal letter that I received. It shows all the requirements, right, for the letter. This is the letter, not the postcard. On the back side of that letter, for courses that you are taking before you get anything mailed in or before you renew online. Like today's course, put your this course name in, put the course number in, locations virtual, the start date of the course, which is today, 7/22. And then we also do certificates of completion. If you request those from the office, you will get a printout for that.
Yep.
But if you're cutting it to the wire, kind of like me and Ronnie, then you can put your information on this letter and send this in when you send your renewal in, if you send it in.
Right.
If you do the online renewal, my suggestion would be to fill this form out still, the paper that they sent, mail that in, do your renewal online. When they receive it, your courses that you take have to be before your expiration date.
Mm-hmm.
Once your expiration date hits, the courses no longer apply. Yeah. But if you have your courses in that your requirements, you can still renew late But like you guys had said, you're going to have
You'll have a fee.
you'll have a fee, an extra $20 if you all the way up to September 30th for me doing today.
We will have another couple hours next week
Yes,
online, right here,
All right.
same channel,
29,
29. So you can get another couple hours without.
2 more hours.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, like I said, Suncoast is definitely a resource for getting your courses in last minute. Just make sure that you get all of your course numbers and everything. Perfect. Awesome, Ronnie. Uh, but yeah, and is there any questions about anything operator certification wise on DNR's search? Yesterday I was talking to Michael and we were talking. He said, I'm a guilty party. And I thought, well, I'm jumped to the wrong thing. Let me go back to that. Operator search. Like Jim Patton, what's your middle initial?
L.
L. So we know I'm going to go ahead and make that a capital L. I don't have anything else, no certificate number, no first name, no last name, no city, none of this. If your middle name starts with L,
Oh, wow.
it has all.
Long list.
Yep. So we're still in A's there, so I'm going to speculate Jim is in the P's. I'm going to go to about page 7.
Oh
no.
You go farther than that.
It's going to be way further. L is a very popular name,
I
looks like.
said,
And we can keep skipping over until we get to, I would say, the
what?
middle name Lee is probably a very popular middle
I
name for people our age. I say our age loosely. Okay, so I've hit P. I can go back now. I'm on page 27. I'm going to jump back 2. I may have jumped too far.
Close.
Page, there we go. So I'm on 26. James L. Patton.
Yep.
There you are. And I did that just by middle initial.
Yeah.
You can do the same with your first name only. Say, first name. And I did that. I'm going to use her as the example because she's the only one in the state with that name.
Oh,
certified.
my gosh.
So, Madeline,
You're one of a kind there.
Yep. Operator search. The last name. Let's do a really common name.
Yeah.
We're going to go to the last page just to see how many Smiths there are. There's only 4 pages, but there's 90 certificates found.
90 Smiths.
Smiths. And you can mix and match. Say you are just generically wanting to see how many drinking water A operators there are in the state. There are 460.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you think about the systems that have to have a drinking water A operator, let's see if we can look that up. Drinking water system search. Let's see.
No, I can't.
Nope, I can't
Nope,
look that up
can't
by
do
what
it.
they need. I could look all of them up, but I don't want to do that. Or let's see. Go back to operator search. Contract operators. All the drinking water treatment contract operators in the state. Notice it has their phone numbers. Douglas needs to update his info.
Yeah.
But it has all their phone numbers. And there are
125.
contract operators for drinking water treatment in the state.
Hmm.
And as a note, just from something I remember, Gary Cunningham was in my class with Gordon Belcher as well. I remember his name. I believe he's an engineer. Oh, and there's another question I had for Ronnie, Collinsville, Illinois. Curious if you've ever heard of a band in that area called Cheese.
Jeez.
Yeah. And this is from like 20 years ago, 20, 25 years ago. Just out of curiosity, if you happen to know a band out of that area called Cheese.
It's all about music.
It is about music. Yep. So, are there any questions at all? No, but I love cheese. Me too. Any questions about navigating the portal? If there's no questions, I think what I might do is go ahead and start the whole research process.
Renew and process.
Yep.
Here we go.
Because operator search, I know my number, so I'm going to look me up by number, and it's right there, so I don't have to look up much. I know my number. I'm going to go ahead and jump in, and this is the public view.
Right.
We're still looking at the public view. I can look myself up on the public view. I can see that my certificate expires
There it is.
next week. I've earned 137 and a half hours. I don't need any to renew my wastewater C or my distribution. And it's funny because I keep this one lopsided from this. I know that a lot of people do the same.
Yeah.
I intentionally do this for training purposes. I can renew this one, my DS2, in December when we have live online. That way I can do this again. And that's the last one I did. Was for live online.
I see what, yeah. Okay.
And I do it just to help those that might want to be able to see this firsthand. Yeah. And we have some new ones because my number is 10534. Yours is 7118.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff has got you beat with 6238.
Yeah. Don't give him a big hit.
Howard's is 369.
369.
Three-digit number.
Yeah.
So
very, very
fearless leader.
There's getting to be very, very few of them.
He and Gary Weber
are
the only two working for the association that have three-digit numbers.
I think Gary's is 001 or something.
I think it's 8-6 something. I mean, I can look them up. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's just do it real fast, just because. Weber. 369. Gary's is 369.
Oh, wow.
Howard's then is 8. Let's see. Last name Baker. And again, just having fun with.
Just messing around.
Howard is 872. Yep, those are the only three. And notice that, they're at the top of the food chain. He has a wastewater A and a DS3 and a DWA. Gary has the same.
Same.
Yeah. Anyway, back to operator search. We looked me up. Now you want to go log in. You're gonna, your renewal. You're coming up on your time. You have enough hours.
Got to do it, and this is what.
Here's where you go to the operator login. When you click the operator login, Mike's look like his is up here. So I'm going to take Mike's out. I'm going to punch in mine. You have to know your certificate number. If you don't know it, you can go to the wall where it's hanging and look on your certificate. You can go with a postcard or with a letter. Or if you don't have access to any of that, you're on your phone and you have to renew.
Yeah.
You can go look it up like we looked it up before with the operator search by your first name, last name, middle initial.
Right.
And you can find your number. Once you have your number, your password is the last four of your social. That's all you have to punch in. The last four of your social.
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm going to backspace and I'm going to put in the last four of my social. And then I'm going to log in. I don't want that to save, so I'm going to X out of that. Once you're at the operator certification login page, you're logged in, it's going to ask you if everything's good.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure that you do look at your information. Make sure that your address is correct. Make sure your email address is correct. Make sure all this information right here is correct.
If you move, Make sure
If
that
you move,
yeah,
please change your address. I am
yeah,
guilty of this.
yeah,
When I moved from Ashland, I used to live literally across the neighbor's yard from the office, and I moved to Jefferson City. When I moved, I didn't think anything of it
right,
because I'm on this website
yeah,
probably at least twice a week,
yeah,
and I never changed my information. If your information's not correct, go to information not correct. Here, you can change all that information. You can change your address, your phone number, your name. If you're a woman and you got married and you had a name change,
yep.
or if you were one of those progressives and you are a man and you got married and you changed your name to your wife's. Hey,
Could happen.
I met a guy at my daughter's wedding last September that he changed his name to his wife's.
Oh,
Anyway, um, I'm in Cole County.
couple of questions there too. You can get
Yep.
their information.
Attention contract operators, the daytime phone number will be displayed. So anybody
Yep.
potentially that's a contract operator or wanting to be, make sure you put your daytime phone number in. Your cell number, if you have a home number, you can list that as well. Those are going to the wayside. I don't have one. All this information is correct, so I'm good there. I'm going to cancel because I'm not really making any changes, but if I did make changes, I would submit changes. Going back to that, information is correct. So now I'm logged in. Now I'm logged in. Say I want to look at stuff. The great thing about DNR's operator certification website, it's a clearinghouse for your information, for your training history.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to training history, once you're there, go to your training history. If you look, it starts backwards. Missouri DNR treatment plant workshop. That was wastewater, and that was last week. I was with Gary Weber at the Jefferson City wastewater treatment facility,
Mm-hmm.
and we were doing a course there for Missouri Department of Natural Resources new hires or people that are new to the wastewater, whether it be doing inspections.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I was there. I signed the roster. But if you'll notice, the training goes backwards in date. And when I say that, it's a clearinghouse and it goes all the way back to that, to
Wow.
when I first started taking courses.
Mm-hmm.
What would the purpose of this be for just an operator? Well, if you're going to be switching jobs, you have a training history
Look at all the training.
to show your new employer or your potential employer all the classes, the courses that you've taken throughout your certificate history. You can also go to training reports. It shows you on the last round of recertification. And if you go down through it, it'll show the 137 and a half hours that I've taken
Accumulate.
since my last renewal. And then it does that on all your certifications, whether this one's my wastewater that I'm renewing today. This one's my DS2 that I'll be renewing at Alive
December.
Online
Yep.
in 2027 or 2026, I should say. Um, but just some stuff to look at. Certificate history and renewal. You can print your certificate history, or now it's asking me if there's anything I want to renew. Today I'm going to renew this.
Yep.
I want to renew selected certificates. And that's it. That's as far as I can go down. Ah, I got you. Couldn't see behind Jim's head. My bad. Oh. So with that, I'm where I need to be. I've got my card. I've got my letter. I now am on the department's website. I'm going to renew the selected certificate. It's again it's showing me my information. It's showing me my information. Everything looks good. Scrolling down, my wastewater C, my certificate number, when it expires, the grace period for payment. Again, this is for payment. This is not for hours. You have to have all your hours in before that date. Otherwise, you're going to have to take the exam again. Here's the crazy thing. I just want to interject this. There's a gentleman in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, takes his exam every 3 years. He doesn't do a research class one. Yep. Because I thought that was kind of odd.
Hmm.
He's down there and he works at a family owned RV park. And I even asked his mother because I was doing EPA. When I was doing the EPA, I was like, he's up for renewal. She's like, he always takes the test. I thought it's kind of odd,
Okay.
but he's never failed to pass it.
Yeah.
So I guess to each his own. I do it this way. I don't want to take the test again. I love taking tests, but not so much. If you don't want to do it online, if you want to do a mail-in, it also gives you directions for doing the mail-in. You have to print out what you're actually clicking on, print renewal and mail-in right there. Or you can do what I'm going to do today and pay online. So it gives you their disclaimers right there about bounce checks and what have you. My fee is going to be $45. If postmarked, it's showing me that how much they're going to charge me for the grace periods too
Yep.
by making a late payment. So without anything further, I'm going to pay renewal fees online. Now, if you notice, it took me to a different website. This is not it's connected to the department, but it's not going to have mo.dnr.gov, none of that. I'm at a third party's website. It's still going to connect me to that account. So my name is correct. It's showing me what it is I'm paying for. It's showing me my subtotal, and it's showing me what I'm projected to pay for using a card or an e-check. I'm okay with paying the $1.15 or the 50 cents, depending on what it's going to charge me. It won't charge me both. Next, I'm going to add my payment method. I'm seeing the amount due is $45. I'm still online. I want to interject here. You cannot use your vouchers to do this.
Yeah.
Though I think at one time you could.
I don't know.
I think you can use vouchers for your exam fee. I don't know that. Now I'm going to just confuse you.
That's going to be a question for Darlene when we have her.
Credit card. Okay, so I'm at the point where I'm going to fill in. You're going to watch me so far. Oh, let's get out of that.
Cyber,
Yeah,
put it on his card.
There's nothing that. Okay, so up until the point that my legal name's Carl. I might want to put in the first letter. Okay. Now, Mike's going to black you guys out to where you can't. Okay, perfect. I'm going to pull out handy dandy credit card.
I'll make a copy of it and mail it to everybody.
Another thing that's going to go right along with what Mike and Jim were talking about earlier, I'm doing an online transaction. Never use your debit card for an online transaction. Always use a credit card if you have access to a credit card.
Yep.
The reason being, a credit card company has stuff built in to where they can go back and recoup money. If you use your debit card and somebody gets that and they cash your account out, your money's just gone.
Very hard to get anywhere.
Always use a credit card when you can. And if you say, I don't have a credit card, if you have a Dollar General in your town or close, you can go buy a throwaway credit card. Doesn't cost much at all, but however much money you want for your transaction on that credit card, so you can throw it away when you're done. Okay. So I'm going to punch in my numbers. Jim, is there anything you want to add while I'm busy?
Well, this is a good tool, like I said earlier, for looking that person up or looking for a job. You can do that on the here, looking for a job. You know, there's a lot of websites out there. Indeed, there's others. We have classifieds. You can go on our website and look. But just seeing what classes you've done, how many hours you need, you can do it all right here.
And I use it a lot here at the office, especially if somebody is signing up for, say, a conference or something. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and, oh, like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got all my information punched in above. Hopefully it doesn't show my numbers
He'll black it out if it does.
when I hit review payment.
Nope.
I no thanks. Okay, so I'm looking at my amount due. Yep, transaction fees $1.15, $46.15. I agree to the payment. Yeah, we can do that. At the bottom, it'll say I agree to payment terms of service and authorize this payment. $45. The one above was the $46.15. Make payment. Drum roll, please. Do not use your refresh or back button because it will more than likely charge your card more than once. So I just did that quick, that easy. Print receipt. Gonna give you a sheet of paper. I'm gonna go to PDF. I'll save it. I'm just gonna save it to desktop if you're okay with that. Oh, I say that. Desktop. Save. Okay.
Done.
And then there's my confirmation number that also printed in my receipt. It's showing me the total renewal amount. It shows me when my certificate expires. Shows me the processing fee. Shows me the total. That way I can submit that to my employer for reimbursement, seeing as my certification
It's
is
part of your job.
it's part of my
Most
job.
systems reimburse you.
Yep.
And if your system doesn't, I find out why.
And you may ask them, hey, would you consider reimbursing me for my certification since the system needs my certification in order to
Well,
be in compliance?
most operators, you're at that level of your system.
Mm-hmm.
So that system needs you at that level. So that I'm going to say probably 90%, a lot of them,
Yep.
reimburse that operator for their license.
Ronnie, to answer your question, if you received the postcard or you received the renewal notification letter, if you received either or both of those, what I would do is you can do that online. Okay, you got both. Perfect. I would use the letter to put today's course number on, and I would use the letter to put the course numbers that you also have coming up, because I know you're going to get more than just today's. Put those on there. If you need more space, I would either duplicate the information on the other side or make a photocopy of this to include it. Then I would go a step further. I would contact DNR at their phone number, which I'm going to go ahead and log out because log out. Yep, I'm okay. Okay, now I'm going to go to the operator certification webpage. You can either do it from this website, going back to the database, their phone number right there. If you call this number, you're going to talk to either Betty, you're going to talk to Darlene, you're going to talk to Patrick, or Zach. Those are the four that I know right off the top of my head. When you talk to one of those folks, you can let them know, hey, here's my situation. I am getting my hours last minute. I received the postcard. I received the letter. They're really easy to talk to, too.
Yeah.
And they'll walk you through exactly what it is that you need to do just to make certain that you don't get overlooked, that none of your hours get overlooked. Because you can renew as long as you have the hours in. So in your particular instance, if you don't have those 12 hours that you still need, you will have to have those in the rear view, so to speak. So like after today, I can use this certification course, this course number on my research, and you can do the same.
And once we're done, once I compile all the attendees and all the numbers, that will get sent to our training secretary, which turns all of it into DNR. And it's just the process.
She has up to 30 days before she's required by the course date to submit to DNR. But you're still safe because within that 30 days, there's a grace period, one, for payment, and two, it's shown that you were in attendance at this course.
But I'm going to say it doesn't take her 30 days. Usually she's waiting on me. I mean, as soon as I get it in, she processes it. It goes to DNR, and then just the processing it through there. And it's usually pretty quick. So
yeah. And if you'll notice too, like on, let me go back to me, punch in my number because it's there. And see, what was I looking up?
I don't know
what I needed. No. Oh, that training updated. That's what I was wanting to bring your attention on the.
Well, that was the 715 class.
Yeah, from last week.
And it was updated 3 days later. So that's what I'm saying. This class here, it should show up next week.
We try our hardest to be
we don't set on
prompt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions from anybody in the class?
Well, I hope this helped quite a bit. I know there was like I said, there was quite a few questions around the state that, they were asking, how do we do this? Can we do it online? Yes, you can do it online. It's simple. It's easy. Beats the mail.
Yeah.
We done that in
3 minutes.
3 minutes, really. Well, I mean, the whole class has been an hour, but 3 minutes of registering.
Put my card number in.
Yeah. And
logging in.
Mike's
3 minutes here looking at us.
So anyway, I thank Andy. Appreciate you being here showing that.
For sure.
I hope you got something out of it.